What's up, everyone? Welcome to Frogman Friday. I'm your host, Ryan Birdman Parrott. Today, our guest is Alex West. He served 20 years in the U.S. Navy as a SEAL, retiring as a senior chief petty officer. He founded One More Wave in 2015, located in San Diego, California. You can follow Alex on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, handles to follow after this show. To learn more about One More Wave, go check out onemorewave.com. Brother, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Ryan. I really mean that too. Just any opportunity to catch up with an old friend is great, especially like this.
I hear it, man. We've got a lot to talk about. Why don't we dig right in? Tell us more about why you started One More Wave, just exiting the service, and then just take us right through the path.
Yeah, sure. So I left the East Coast, East Coast based team for the West Coast for my kind of twilight tour. And when I did that, I started volunteering as a surf instructor for the Naval Hospital's Health and Wellness Department. And what they did was they had burn victims and spinal cord injuries, amputees. They were taking them out surfing all the time. So I was a volunteer surf instructor for them for about a year. And during that time, I recognized that all of these boards that they were on were very kind of from Costco, kind of cheap, nothing that was customized to those types of injuries. And then basically, one day I went out with a Marine, we were surfing, and it was a beautiful Southern California day. And he had a huge smile on his face. And I looked over and I was like, yeah, man, it's beautiful out, right? And he said, yeah, it is, but that's not why I'm smiling. The reason I'm smiling is because when I catch a wave, I'm no longer the guy missing a leg and there's no more pain. And so that was my aha moment. And I was like, that's it. I need to start this thing. So I drove home, stopped by a Borders bookstore, looked at this nonprofit section with all these books. I was all fired up, ready to do this. Okay, I'm gonna get this thing going. And I started pulling out these books, and it's these incredible nonprofits that are world-renowned PhD type people writing about it. And my motivation just started dumping. And I was like, well, I can't leave empty-handed. I have to get something. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw this little yellow book at the bottom of the shelf. And I was like, no way. So I went down, I pulled it out, and it was How to Start a Nonprofit for Dummies. So I was like, all right, well, I got to get out of here. I'm like, at least I've at least kicked the can down the road. So I checked out, went home with a cup of coffee and a highlighter. And that was the beginning of One More Wave.
That is fantastic, man. Well, I'll tell you what, for those of you listening right now, you should check out, Starbucks did a special called Upstanders. Alex and One More Wave are part of it. It's one of the most powerful videos that I've seen. I truly blown away by the way that they put that together, but also the way that how you created One More Wave. It's amazing. And
thank you.
For me being in the West Coast, that water's cold. So getting out there to surf was not as much as I wanted to, but there is something about the water that just absolutely takes you away from everything and really places you in the moment.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I always felt there is something special about it. I always felt no matter what, I felt better coming out of the ocean than when I went in. And that was whether it was perfect conditions or it was bad conditions, whatever it was, or I was screwing up a time, whatever it was, no matter what, I always felt better coming out than when I went in. There's really is something special about the ocean. And also, I think there's something special about getting into a flow state, which I think you can find in not just surfing, but in any kind of modality, like playing a guitar, I'm sure base jumping, or any kind of sport, anything that basically puts you in the present, because depression hangs out in the past, things that you wish you could have done, things that you're kind of mad at yourself about. And then in the future, that's where anxiety hangs out. So what I need to be doing this, or if I don't, do this for my boss, I'm going to get fired. Well, what's great about flow state or surfing is in that moment of catching that wave, there's nothing else going on but what's happening right then and there for those few seconds. And while that might not be that big of a deal therapeutically for, let's say, a 5-10 second ride, but you do that 10 times, and then all of a sudden you get into a routine of doing that 3-4+ times a week. Now, over time, that really starts making an impact on your sympathetic nervous system.
That's interesting. It's kind of like that book. What is it called? The Rise of Superman.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That's a great book. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Well, so tell me, I watched this video and I've been following you guys for a long time. So tell me about the process of starting this just from the idea with your dummies book but really growing this, because your passion's what started this, not any book, not any business.
Right.
And then how it grew organically and where you're at today.
Yeah, well, I'll try to make it as I can talk about this all day long. I start getting really passionate. So please stop me if I'm running my mouth a
Go,
little bit too
man.
much.
Go
But
for it.
we, we started, and what was challenging to begin with was, okay, great. I have the concept and I filed for a tax exemption status, which, as you know, can take a little bit of time. And as that was happening, I'm like, well, I need to make the first board. and actually, and that's can be expensive. And so we needed to raise that. So I didn't really know how to do it. And so we started slinging t-shirts, and we started slinging t-shirts out of the back of my pickup truck. And I'd go to, like team guy parties and just guilt trip people. And next thing you know, I started talking to anybody who would listen, whether it was like, like a Rotary Club or like a PTA board, or like anybody that would let a barbecue, like anybody that would hear me, I would say it. And I would just, give my little elevator pitch, talk to them about it. And then before we knew it, we had our first board, which was a guy by the name of Chris Small. He was an awesome guy. And that was back in 2015. So that was kind of the beginning. And as we started kind of growing, getting more funding, our t-shirt sales started to increase a little bit. And we started making more boards. At first, it was just going to be for that clinic, that for the Naval Hospital in San Diego. That was like the whole vision at first. It wasn't like what it is now. And then before I knew it, it just started kind of catching on a little bit. I had some guys come in, like Kyle Bucket, Rob Garnett, and Robin Miller, a bunch of team guys that were kind of helping me out in this process. Alex Sonnenberg, our mutual friend, of course. And we had, this started kind of happening, and we started building a little bit of momentum. And before we knew it, that's when Starbucks came, did that incredible documentary. We're so grateful to them. And then that really propelled us kind of in the national spotlight. And then from that, our momentum, we learned a lot from that as far as like how to handle that type of exposure, marketing, sales, e-commerce sales, donation. I mean, that took us from being like very mom and pop to kind of a little bit more mainstream. And there's a lot of growing pains in that, both good and bad, but we came out on the other end, I think, a lot stronger. And then from there, we just kind of kept going, and we started recognizing that, we're making all these customized surfboards. So now our surfboards are, we're making stuff for veterans that are like missing a leg, an arm, burn victims, as I mentioned before, all these different things where we're breaking trail on surfboard design, not just like we're a nonprofit, let's help out some vets, but we're the only place in the world that is breaking trail on these surfboard designs, because we're wanting to push these vets into surf conditions that are really can get them going, like really drive that passion. And what I mean by that is, like, when you think of like a skier, you start off as on like the bunny slope, like pizza slice, French fry pizza, you're starting off then, and then you get up to the green, right? And then you start getting into the blue. And that's when all of a sudden that passion starts going. It's like, wow, I just skied a blue. Let me try a black. And then that's when that true magic happens, in my opinion. And that's in performance. And that's what we're trying to do within the surfboards, where if there's a guy or a gal that is missing a limb, like, we want to tell them like, yeah, great, let's get you surfing. Okay, well, have you thought about surfing a little bit higher waves, not pushing them too hard, but just pushing them? Because I think that that's where that real kind of like untapped energy, where they can realize, like, I can surf a double overhead wave. Maybe I'm missing both legs, but I can do it, especially with the equipment and the right mentorship. So we started going that route, and then we started building chapters around the country. And so we have these like community chapters where every third Saturday of the month, we have a surf that we host, all the way from the Marine Corps base in Okinawa to Oahu, up and down the California coast in North Carolina. So every third Saturday, we'll have anywhere from 250 to 300 people surfing on that third Saturday, literally around the world. So I couldn't have, long answer to a simple question, I could not have envisioned that in the beginning, because all I wanted to do was just help that small little surf clinic with maybe 2 or 3 boards a year. And then now it's turned into, we just hit our 500th veteran serve. So we're certainly very proud. I'm proud of our team. And then, of course, all the veterans that have, all the supporters that have helped us along the way.
That's incredible to take a passion of yours personally and then weave it into something that you could legitimately do every day of your life and help others and dramatically impact their life. And that's a huge thing too that we're seeing today. I mean, you're the perfect testament of it. You did an entire career. You saw a lot of combat, and you come back, and anybody who's seen combat, they change a little bit. Anybody who's seen a lot of combat are going to come back with something. And to be able to not only work alongside these others that need help, but to actually probably give yourself some healing as well. That's a really, really cool scenario. Awesome. I commend you, man. Yeah, it's super rad. So give us an idea as where you want to go with this.
With One More Wave, yeah. So we are right now we have a lot of great designs for triple amputee, double amputee. So just keep pushing those designs. We also do graphics that go into the board. So as a form of art therapy, when I was at the National Intrepid Center of Excellence for traumatic brain injury, I was exposed to art therapy. And so with that, that's what we now use. We use a graphic designer to work with a vet to basically put on any logo, anything they want on their board. So we want to just keep pushing the envelope on graphic art in surfboards and also performance in surfboards. We're also looking to really professionalize, like right now, like I said, we have all these chapters. We're really trying to build up each chapter with mentorship programs and also running their own fundraisers and bringing in their local communities to basically be a part of it. And I think that's really a great part, because a lot of people say, well, I'm not a veteran, but I do want to help. And it's like, right on, come along, you're part of our tribe. And I think that's what a lot of guys and gals miss when they get out of the military, is like, I no longer have a squad, a platoon, a troop, whatever you want to call it. Like, I'm no longer in this anymore. Like, what do I do? And so now it's, just building that community is what we're really kind of looking to do. So to answer your question, just continuing to professionalize and grow smartly each one of our chapters, and then to continue to grow our surfboard manufacturing process to where we can continue to service more veterans faster, just like cutting down on our processes, cutting down on time, cost, all sorts of things. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
That's awesome. So you mentioned people interested in getting involved. How can they get involved with your organization, and what do you need help with?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question. So if they can go on our website, which onemorewave.com, and you can go on there and you can register to donate time. So if you're in one of those chapter locations, you can show up to those third Saturday surfs and help guys or gals get in and out of the water if they require it, or just to be there and be part of that tribe. You can also help us, of course, by donating on our website. We are tax exempt nonprofit, and or you could buy some of our swag, our e-commerce sales. So a ton of t-shirts. We pride ourselves in design with the surfboards, and that graphic art design goes into our apparel also. And I would challenge anybody to find a better fitting t-shirt than we have right now. I mean, there might be some out there, I just haven't found it. So I'm really proud of how our e-commerce has grown. Our team has worked so hard. Shout out to Lynn and Chef, a couple of people on our team that have made that happen. But it's they can support that way. Amazon Smiles, you can go on that. There's a lot of different ways, but the big things are time, money, and e-commerce can really help us out, because each one of these surfboards that we make, we don't just do the surfboard, we also do the wetsuit. And also for the wetsuit, if it's an amputee, we take them to a wetsuit tailor, because there's no way I want to see a veteran with an overhand knot in their wetsuit leg looking like Tiny Tim or something like that. There's no way that's happening, not on my watch, or our watch. So I want them to go in there, get properly fitted, and and then from there. So it costs about $2,500 per veteran. So that's where it's sometimes a little cheaper, sometimes a little more expensive, but that's about the ballpark. So anything that people can give in form of monetary means, buying stuff or volunteering their time, could really help us out. Spreading the word too, resharing. If you see something that you're inspired on our social media handles, like, please just reshare. I mean, that's a big deal to us. I mean, I didn't realize what a big deal social media marketing was until we really started getting a little bit more developed at the organization.
That's awesome. Well, it's amazing what you've built here, and you're going to just keep crushing it. You're going to grow it, and you never know. Someday you might just develop either a competition, or you might see some of your athletes turn into competitors and go try it and do some epic things. You never know what's going to come off of it. I think you do, because I think you have stuff inside the back of your brain that you don't want to project yet that will happen. So that's the beauty of being a creator of an organization.
We do. And with that said, I'd like to give a shout out to Sarah Betancourt and Jose Martinez. We have a couple veterans right now that are trying to qualify for Worlds. So, even though we don't truly, it's all about the community and, and just getting together and making the boards. But we do, like, they're inspiring, to have these adaptive athletes, just like, charging huge waves and, and just doing it. It's so, I love watching that more than I do regular surfing. because it's just like, wow, these people are shredding and they're just like, I don't know. It's great, man. And thank you for the kind words, by the way.
Absolutely, brother. Well, you've heard it from the man himself, the founder of One More Wave, Alex West. You're going to see all his information right at the end of this video. If you want to get in touch with him, you go check out onemorewave.com, buy some swag, definitely volunteer. I don't care if you're in the location or not. You can always jump in some wheels. You can jump in an airplane, go volunteer some time to help out the warriors that they're supporting, and definitely make a donation. It's always good. The bigger, the better. So thanks for being on, brother.
Thank you. Can I have one alibi
Yeah.
I'd like to throw in there? And this kind of message I'd like to really spread out to the veterans out there, and also the people that know the veterans. If you're struggling, please just like reach out to One More Wave. Like if it doesn't, you don't have to be in San Diego or Hawaii. There's always an alternative to just sitting on the couch. It's easy to just sit on, like, I know from experience of just slamming some Jack Daniels on the couch, right? Like, please reach out to us. If you're really struggling, there really is hope out there. If you're not into surfing, that's okay. Still reach out to us. We have connections into all sorts of other programs. If you're not sure even where to go with anything, or if you're struggling, just reach out. And I mean that. And I mean that for the caretakers and the friends of those people. If you don't, we've had that happen too. Just reach, if you're like, I don't know what to do. I haven't been in the military, but my buddy's really struggling. I'm worried about him. You can reach out to us too. Yes, we're surfing, but we're also veterans as well who care, as you do, Ryan, in your organization. So it's just, please don't struggle in silence. There's way more to life. So please reach out.
Alex West, onemorewave.com. Go check it out.